Alrighty, now we talked about in fiddle terms when it's hard to play a bunch of notes or strings together, and so we generally just use two strings, and we call those double stops. But now let's talk about chords. And what are chords? Okay. Now, that's going to equal 3 or more notes played together. Okay? Now, can two notes make up a chord? Probably, sure. But in general, when we talk about chords, whenever the guitar player makes a chord, when the piano player makes chords, when the mandolin chops chords, they're making more than two notes at a time. So here we go. How do we build a chord? We talked about building scales, but a chord. And again, that's where our numbers really help. Let's go to our friendly A major scale. A, B, C sharp's our third, D's our four, E, F sharp, G sharp, and A, which is our eighth. This brings us back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, let's say what scale is this? This is A major scale. Okay, A major. So if you think that we could possibly use this scale to build an A major chord, well, you would be quite correct. And so all you have to do is pick out the 1, the 3, and the 5 of any major scale and put those together, and you have just created an A major chord. So A major, just a standard thing that you'd play by a campfire, kind of this A major chord is just A plus C sharp plus E. And so if you make an A major on a piano and you look at each of those notes that you're pushing down, it's going to either be an A C sharp, or an E note. If you play it on a guitar, any of those notes these fingers are pressing down, you're going to look at those and they're either going to be an A C sharp, or an E. It might be a different order, might be different combinations. There are things out there called inversions and all that. That's don't really find it very helpful, except it can be. Don't get me wrong, but this is the most important part, is that the A major chord is made up of the 1, the 3, and the 5th note in the scale. Why that is that those just go together in lovely harmony that we all immediately identify with as just very peaceful. It sounds good. Now, if we're going to build, okay, that's what we can build an A major with. Okay? How about a G major? So just quickly, a G scale, how about that? G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. And so if we're going to build a G major chord, what's that going to equal? What notes are we going to pull together? Same way, it's going to always be the 1, the 3, and the 5. Oops, sorry. Okay, it's always going to be the 1, the 3, and the 5. So what is that here? G is 1, A is 2, 3 is B, C is 4, D is 5. So we're going to pick G, B, and D. So G plus the B note plus the D note equals, equals G major. And so we can do that for, let's pick another one. Let's go with D. So D would be D, E, F sharp, G, A. B, C sharp, D. This is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what do we add together to create our D major chord? The 1, the 3, and the 5, which are D, F sharp, and A. So D plus F sharp plus A equals D major. Now, the good news is that if we want to talk about minor chords, they're built the exact same way. You just take the 1, the 3, and the 5, except, or no except to it. You take the 1, 3, and 5, but you just have to know the minor scale. So let's go back to A minor. Okay, A minor scale. Remember this, we're talking, if I just say minor, I'm talking about Aeolian, which is just the common minor scale that we come across. There's a few different minors, but I don't want to get bogged down in that. Let's just go to A minor, meaning Aeolian minor. It's going to be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, and so on. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equals 1. So how do we build A minor? As you might imagine, keep it simple. We just pick out our first, our third, and our fifth notes. Okay? And we play those together in beautiful harmony. And so an A plus a C plus an E makes an A minor chord. Let's talk about the G minor scale is this: G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, and so on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equals 1. And so what do we do? It's the exact same thing. Always exact same thing. 1, 3, and 5. So we bring those together to make G plus B flat plus D, and that is going to equal G minor. You can do that for every single major and every single minor chord. On every single note that's here. So every scale will have its major chord and minor chord. There are other chords that we can talk about. Okay? You may have heard of seventh chords. You may have heard of sixth chords. You may have heard of so many other chords, and it gets so complicated with weird names like augmented, diminished, ninths, 11ths, 14ths, and it goes on and on. But the more important thing to get right now is that no matter what you're doing here, everything can be explained by knowing your scales and using our handy dandy alphabet. Now, I just want to introduce this concept here of the 7th chord, and then in the next video we'll talk more about something that's super helpful that I learned from a lecture I attended, and I'll share that with you. Okay? So let's build a 7th chord. We'll start here, and we'll use A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, G sharp, back to A, and so on. Okay, so this is going to be A major. If you had to build an A major 7, what might you do? And you would be correct. You would combine an A major chord plus the 7th note in the scale, in the A major scale. So why don't we do that? We know that A major equals the 1 plus the 3 plus the 5. And then all we have to do is add the 7, and we've created an A major 7. And so in this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So which ones do we pick out? We pick out A, the 1, the 3, the 5, and then we pick out a new one, being the 7. And so when we put these together, what do we get? We get A plus C sharp plus E plus G sharp equals A major 7. Okay? At this point, I'm going to introduce one more thing because it's the most useful 7th in folk and bluegrass and so many other types of music. Because this A major 7 isn't actually the thing you come across the most. In fact, if you ever see something written in music or a chord sheet or something, and it just says, let's say, the name of the chord, so the letter, let's in this case it'd be A, and just has a 7 here, well, that actually means something else. That means A dominant 7. And this is super common. And so really quickly, let's talk about how to do that. As you might imagine, the A here means that we take A major, okay, and add it to what's called the dominant 7th. So how in the world do we get that? That sounds scary. It's not dominant 7. All in the world that means is that you're using the same scale, but a dominant 7 means that you add A. You take your 7th note and you move it down 1/2 step. And that's all that means. Okay? So let's go back up here to our A major scale. And we know where 7 is a G sharp. So if we look at our handy alphabet, we know that moving our G sharp down a 1/2 step, which means going back this way, instead of this way, we're going back this way to go down the pitch. What do we see? We see the G. And so a dominant 7 if you wanted to write that out, it would be the A major, so 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus the 7 that's flattened. This little sign meaning flattened. 1/2 step. And so in this case, that would equal A plus C sharp plus E plus G. In A major, the 7th that you added to your chord of A major here was the A major 7. You added a G sharp, which is just your regular old 7th note in the scale, to make this A dominant 7 that has this really nice sound to it that's used everywhere. Then all you had to do was flatten that 7th 1/2 little step and add that one in. So we've got the same trio. We've got A, C sharp, and E, plus a G note, G natural, creates the A dominant 7. And this works for every single scale and every single chord. So let's just show you what we would do out of G. Let's do G quickly. So the G scale would be G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. If we wanted to make, so we know to make a G major, what do we do? G major alone equals 1, 3, and 5. Add those together, so we'll know that our G major is going to take a G note plus a B note plus a D note. Now, if we want to make a G major 7, well, that's pretty self-explanatory in that it just takes the 7th note that's in the major scale and adds it on to the trio that you have, the 1, 3, and 5. Okay? So what's that going to be? That's going to be G, B, and D. You're going to keep this the same. So G plus B plus D plus the 7th, which is here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's just plus F sharp. Jazz, super jazzy chord. If you see a G major written in jazz, it's probably going to mean it's a G major 7. Lovely chord. But what you see more often in folk music is a G dominant 7. And all that means, okay, 7. All that means is what? We're going to be using the exact same thing as major. So the 1, 3, 5, 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus a flattened 7. So a G dominant 7 is going to be the exact same thing right here, the 1, 3, and 5. G plus B plus D. And this is an F sharp, is what we normally find here in the 7th. And so all we have to do is flatten it a 1/2 step. So here's F sharp, which is the same thing as G flat. And all we have to do is go back 1/2 step to F plus F natural. And that equals a G dominant 7. Okay? You can do that for every single chord. Okay? The A minor 7 already has this dominant 7 kind of built into it. And let me show you what I mean. I'll just give you an example. So if I want to play a A minor 7, what do you think I might do? Well, how about making an A minor and adding in the 7th note of the scale? So if I want to make an A minor 7, how about making an A minor and then adding in the 7th note of the scale? Exactly. And so here we go. We're going to go the A minor scale, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, and so on. So what will we do to make an A minor? You still take the 1, 3, 5. You just remember your minor scale. So that's 1, 3, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then where's our 7th note? 5, 6, 7. And so you add these together. 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7. And that's going to equal, if you're using your minor scale, A minor 7. And so in this case, it's going to be A, C, plus E for 5, and then your 7 will be G. So plus G, and that equals A minor 7. Again, we use the G major up here, example, so we can do it. Let's do a G minor 7 here. Okay. The G minor scale is going to be G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, back to G, and so on. G, so here's our numbers, 4, D is 5, 6, 7. Okay, to make a G minor, what would you put together? You guessed it, 1, 3, and 5. And so we go G plus B flat plus D. Okay, and that's going to make our G minor chord. But now we want to turn this into a 7th. And what would we add? How about adding the 7th note in the scale? And indeed, that's what you do. So plus, in this case, F would equal a G minor 7. You can do that for every single minor chord that exists. If you know the minor scale for E, you can build an E minor 7 the exact same way. Same way for F minor, F sharp minor, G minor. Every single one of them. And so I hope that's helpful. I think it's enough for now to chew on. And we'll be back soon. Thank you.